And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because people on Facebook don't know how to hold an argument nicely, sometimes at all. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble pretty much all over the place. You can find me under that. Just give it a try. Let me go ahead and introduce you to a larger panel than normal, apparently, because things have been changing around a little bit. From just north of the border of me, good evening, actually good morning, Heretic Woman.
Good morning.
From the Midwest of the U.S., good evening, Brigid.
Howdy.
From just south of me into Pittsburgh, good morning, Joey.
That is a matter of opinion.
'Tis. From just outside of hot air, Washington, D.C., good morning, UnrenownedTech.
This is not a fake episode.
No, it's not. And from just over the water and just past it into Paris, which just got rid of our commander-in-chief. Good morning, Joseph.
He was here?
He was.
Hey. No take backsies.
It's too late.
It's your problem.
Missed opportunities.
Yes, and we will discuss at some point or other the 30-second hand wrestling thing. And I have to be very careful because I have to remind myself I didn't put out the warning yet. So
well, he tried the pull grab.
Yes, he did, for 30 seconds worth.
And then there was his greeting to the First Lady.
Okay, I have to check up on that.
Yeah.
I've been in data land.
Anyways,
carry on, sir.
So let me go ahead and give everybody their two warnings about tonight. Item number one, this is my mug of coffee. There are many coffee mugs like this, but this is the only one that I have like this. This is currently composed of maple-flavored coffee. I brewed it just a little while ago. I did not take a sip off of it yet, and I figured I would just do this now. Oh, that's good stuff. Oh, that's good stuff.
Smelling like syrup, and where's that coming from? Somebody spilled syrup in my coffee. Oh, no, that's maple nut crunch.
I would say that.
You want to tell me
choke on my
Juan Valdez is raisin maple nuts right next to his coffee beans? I'll bet you my left maple nut he isn't.
I got some great nuts for you.
Give me some coffee.
We'll come up with that. Anyway,
Who was the breast milk
What kind of
donor?
coffee?
Who needs coffee when you have alcohol?
for those that are,
goodness.
Irish
for those that are just listening. For those that are just listening, by the way, said mug is, I haven't measured it out, but it's close to a liter. Close.
That's
Damn.
a flagon.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
no
well is.
mug. That's a flagon.
Well, I got this at Anthrocon a couple of years ago. Actually, it was kind of gifted to me. It's a story for another day, but yes, it is a gift. It does have Princess Luna from My Little Pony on it. You don't like that tough shit? I don't care.
Meanwhile, I'm drinking out of a tiny little mason jar
That's okay.
because
How
I
many
am
Shujin's
poor.
cup for mug for work?
Yeah,
Seriously.
if only. So that's warning number one, because I've got a lot of coffee to go through tonight, and I'm already awake. Item number two, for those of you that are aware or are not, this is episode 170, and I'm warning you about that because every 10th episode is specifically a not safe for work episode. If you should not be listening to this episode, now's the time to go ahead and switch the motherfucker off. Sorry, it's a little bit too late now. You're already committed. Tough shit.
My virgin ears.
Oh, God, that's about the only thing virgin on you at this point. That's got nothing to do with...
You leave my nose out of this.
It's going to be one of those nights, people.
Good thing Dalan's not here.
As the great Carlin once put it, shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits.
Exactly.
Thank you.
That
Good
covers
night.
everything. On with the show.
Actually, no, it doesn't cover everything. Joey, I would like you to go ahead and give your prediction. because the show could use a benediction right about now.
Benediction.
That benediction.
Oh boy.
Jeez, gotta make me do things. As the founding father of the, I should really have the little white tab, shouldn't I?
Don't just nobody's going to see it anyway. Just do it.
And the American flag pin.
As the founding father of the Lapsed Church of the Holy Memory, in the name of the left breast, the right, and the holy cleavage, tits be with you.
There you go. Thank you.
If
We've
you're a
got-
bitch,
I guess I wore the right shirt tonight.
Pretty much.
Awesome.
There you go. It's the first time we've opened with a benediction. So there you go. So for those of you that are watching live, which right now that would be over in the chat, I see Colleen and Lynn. Hi, welcome. Thank you for being with us tonight. If you would like to be part of the show, you can. If you're watching us live, please let us know in the chat. I can go ahead and see about having folks join us, because a non-safe for work episode means we open up the floodgates and freaking anything and everything will fall out. And you can too be there. What? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, it's gonna be a fun night. So let me go ahead and get everything rolling, because, well, I got some explaining to do, and I have a very unwarmed up voice. So with 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. And forgive my not having a warmed up voice. The title was 757-248-000. Some people might better recognize this way. 525,600 minutes. How many minutes are there in a year? That's it. But more specifically, 757,248,000 comprise almost 24 years. Monday, the 17th, would and should have been my 24th wedding anniversary. It will be 12 years. It has been 12 years since we lost my wife, so it's twice as long since we lost her. I should be celebrating it, and yet I can't. Now, I try really hard to make sure that these openings are not specifically about me, and sometimes I can't help it. It just kind of plays out that way. But I can actually work this in a way where it's not exactly just about me. In those 24 years, I've had a lot of things happen. I've had a couple of jobs. I've been fired once from a job that for reasons that were bullshit, for being backstabbed, not literally, figuratively, by someone that I had a gentleman's agreement with. Somebody that I, at the time, respected, and he is one of those few people for whom I do not have hate for, I have apathy for. And that's worse, because I don't have any care whatsoever about them now. But all the things that have changed over those 24 years now. It was 1993. I was living in a basement apartment with my fiance and then wife. And the things that happen that you think back on and you take, joy and comfort in. Trying to bake a couple of lobster tails in a toaster oven and finding out that's probably not the best way of doing it. But, when that's almost all that you've got, it works out. Because you're young, you're stupid, you don't care. You find out that nobody should ever live in a basement apartment when there are 4- and 5-year-old kids running around. And you're most assuredly not. That makes for a bad time. You find out how much changes technologically speaking. And that's going to be important in a little while. But how much so? Shit, I remember using a internal 2400 baud modem on my Amiga way back when. And then an 11K and then a 56K. And my wife getting a Pentium 75 on a clearance, and that was a big deal at the time. And then you find out about the things that you never would have expected. Like where your friends are. The people that you have lifelong friendships with. People that you call your family of choice. I spent a good portion of today in Toronto with a lot of folks who are my family of choice. Yes, the furries. And you know what? As hard as it is for me to say the word, I will. They're people that I can say I love. And if you've watched and heard me long enough, you know that is not a word that comes easy for me. There are a lot of people in your lives. Don't wait almost 8 million seconds to tell them that you appreciate them, even if you don't say love. You've got an opportunity, take it, and be grateful for it. Because these seconds... Episode 171 on the docket, CLXX, because look, I was trying to make a funny because CLXX is not a piece of anatomy. I was going to make an FGM joke. Did I use the right terminology? Yes, I did. Damn, I can't believe that just rolled off the tongue for me. That's distressing, honestly. But yeah. That's just the way that it is. Anyway, Heretic Woman. Yes. I did not go looking for any news, and I did not update my numbers at this moment. Did you have any new information?
I don't.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Sorry.
25 June. So 1, 2. This is the third week, so I have to add 21 days to my counter. That 43 days, which now makes that which means that brings our counter currently to Rafe Badawi's incarceration at 5 years, 1 month, 12 days for thought crime.
I've got 5 years, 29 days.
I may have gone
okay.
over. I will double check my numbers. Chances are I probably screwed something up because, well.
I actually learned when I ran the show last time that there's a website called howlongago.com. And so I just typed in how long ago was June 17, 2012.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a thing, and I just keep updating mine manually, and I think I just jumped over a week somewhere.
If you do it every week, it's cool, because then you're up on it. But when I do it twice a year, not so much.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't think I updated it last week, or I'm just missing a week somewhere.
No worries.
I'll figure it. All I know is that it's longer than 0 days, and that's long.
That's too fucking long. Yes. Yeah.
So tonight we're going to pretty much throw it out there and talk about anything and everything that we feel like, because that's pretty much what the Power 10 episodes were all about. It's a bitch fest. We can bring anything we want to the table. It could be stupid. It could be really super serious. It could be you. So again, if you're watching live, if you would like to join us, let me know. I will see about getting a link over to you so that you can join us. You do not need to have a camera. All we ask is that you have a microphone. You can use whatever name you would like, and you can be part of the group for a change. No Patreon necessary, which, by the way, I do need to see about finally opening that up.
That would probably be useful.
Yeah, like I've been saying, I've really railed against doing that, but I finally realized, you know what? If people want to put into the hat, it's a different matter than putting anything behind a paywall. So,
exactly.
So we do that. So let me go ahead and throw let me throw something past you guys, because it was something that came through my my news feed, and I talked to Joey about this last night. Let me actually, funny enough, let me throw you guys the link, and I will put that into the show notes as well so that people can take a look at that. Boom, there's that. So apparently an engineer who used to work for NASA once upon a time died. Go fig, they get old, that happens. And somebody found out that this guy had a couple of old computers from NASA from the late 60s, early 70s in his house. And, they're looking it over, they're trying to figure it out. And the guy came in to kind of evaluate the stuff and figure out, was it worth anything, or what should they do with it? And the guy looked the stuff over and he found a big old label that said property of NASA. And said, I should probably call NASA. Well, NASA had somebody come down there and look over the stuff. And apparently, here's where it gets to be funny. The heirs wanted NASA to know I can't say he. The engineer in question, because the name has been redacted completely, did not steal this merchandise, which apparently needed to have a crane to lift it. So, he didn't steal it. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Anyway, so apparently the computers were owned by IBM in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
And they were just throwing them away because they had no further use for them. And the guy said, can I have them? Okay, sure. So they gave him these two monsters that are monstrously huge.
Yeah.
But in and amongst everything else were 300 odd data reel-to-reel tapes. Magnetic tapes, 14 inches across.
Wow.
Now, unfortunately, most of them have no labeling whatsoever on them. And they have mold in them. So it's been labeled a bit of a health hazard, which, okay, I get that. But they had an archivist kind of try to figure a little bit about what's on them and if they were worthwhile. Some of the data on these have been attributed to, at this point, and reminding you that the dates that were used for these computers were between 1961 and 1974.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these data reels include data from Pioneer 8, 9, 10, 11, of which 53 reels come from that one. Healy A, 10 reels worth. HESA, 2 reels. And Intelstat 4. There are still another 200 some odd tapes that are unlabeled and are as yet unknown what kind of information are on them. This is the piece that fucking drives me up a wall. Not the fact that they went ahead and they had all this data, because we don't really know what's in there. The archivist said, quote, "There is no evidence that suggests this material is historically significant. I recommend disposal through the immediate destruction of all magnetic tapes."
Oh.
In other words, what the person's saying, I don't know what's on here. I know I'm going to get in trouble if this is supposed to be stuff that I'm supposed to handle. Destroy it quickly before anybody finds out anything else, and before we look bad.
Maybe, but as far as I'm concerned, this is data.
How could it not be historically significant?
Don't know.
Like, even if somebody like me couldn't even understand what was on it, there are lots of people who would be able to understand that and appreciate what was there and see that as a building block to where we may end up in the future. And if questions arise that, well, you know, what happened 80, 100 years ago, or what, like, it boggles my mind that it. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Joey and I both play occasionally a game called Kerbal Space Program. Actually, come to think of it, I should put a link over in there for that. KSP. I'll remember about that later. And, you know, astrodynamicism. Sure, yeah, I'm making up a new word. I don't care. If this is orbital data for some of this stuff, I'm sure they would love to have this kind of information to work off of. Of course, it would take, you know, hell and high water to get the information off the tapes because, well, you know, 1/2 inch wide, 14-inch across data reels. You know, that's old. That is old tech. These are devices that are probably going to need a dedicated 220 volt line with like a 20 amp circuit breaker just to make sure that it actually runs. Never mind trying to figure out how to get the data off the damn things.
Yeah.
Probably like an audio coupler or something because it's just going to be that crazy. However, the piece that fucking burns my ass about this, you guys remember when Apollo 11 landed on the moon and it was videotaped and NASA overwrote that videotape
yes.
of the videotape because you motherfuckers thought it wasn't going to be worthwhile later? And the only video evidence we still have anymore is from fucking Australia because an engineer decided he wasn't going to get rid of it? Seriously. NASA, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Do you not understand the gravity of what you're trying to do here?
Apparently
Did you not learn? So, yeah, you know, in the grand scheme of things, this is not as big as, you know, I don't know, a collusion between two superpowers, but this is something that really burned my ass because data should never be just, oh, this can't be important. Let's just get rid of it. Let's just get rid of it. Let's just get rid of it. You know what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Seriously, you're an archivist. How the fuck can you actually go ahead and say, well, it doesn't matter to anybody else. Let's just go ahead and burn it now. Because, you know.
Yeah, that's like the antithesis of the guy's job.
It's like, yeah, look, here I am. I'm the guy who plows snow. I'm going to start spreading out instead of salt, instant snow.
Yeah.
It's just fucking.
I just want to make sure that the guy behind me is working hard, you know?
Yeah, right?
Right.
Although the one thing I just noticed here that I did have to kind of chuckle at, because NASA came and said, well, thank you for checking with us, but really we don't need the computers and whatever. It says the computers were not removed from the residence due to their size and weight.
Since it would take a fucking crane to get them out of there.
Yeah.
You think trying to get stuff out on a pallet jack is going to be hard?
You know,
good luck.
This makes me wonder because have you guys ever heard of an email list called Free Cycle?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Well, somebody on my Free Cycle list was offering reel-to-reel tapes last week.
Ooh.
I tried to get on Free Cycle. I have waited forever for the freaking approval to come through. Even sent out a couple emails going, hey, look, you know, have you forgotten about me? I got shit I want to give away here. Stuff that's legitimately good things like, you know, antique furniture that's actually in one piece and has been taken good care of. I don't want it to go to the dump. You know, hey, anybody home? No freaking responses whatsoever.
Really?
Like, you know what? Go fuck.
See, I joined before they did the centralized website thing. So they were originally individual Yahoo groups that were kind of loosely connected under the Free Cycle name. So I got in without any of that mumbo jumbo crap. It was just an old Yahoo group. So
Hey, you know how I got rid of this shit?
how?
I put it on the curb and I said free.
There you
That's what we do here.
Wow,
Except,
it went quick. I didn't have to wait for any stupid bitch to approve that.
Put it this way, where I used to live like 10 blocks from here, and so 15 years ago when I got married, much to my chagrin now. At the time, I had a full-size coffin in my living room that I used for a blanket box. And my ex decided that we didn't have room for it because he needed the space for his computer desk. So I was obliged to get rid of it. I put a full-size coffin on the curb and it was gone within an hour.
Well, you're nearby Toronto. There are some freaks out that way.
Yeah, that would be. I'm kind of one of them, but
that's why you had it in the first place.
Yeah, actually, it was great because when years ago, when my niece was very young, and I was still friends with her father, I would have her come stay with me during spring break and whatnot. And let's just say we had an adult play area in my house at the time, and the coffin was an excellent place for hiding toys.
No comment.
Yeah, and in fact, well, and see, this was yeah, when at the time it was my niece had not come out of the closet yet and wasn't sure of who she was yet, so she was kind of boy, and the best way to keep a curious 10-year-old who at the time identifies as male from looking inside somewhere you don't want them to look, tell them it's full of feminine hygiene products.
That could do it.
Work like a charm.
It might not work because some of those feminine hygiene products make excellent like cubicle warfare devices.
Okay, I've never tried that. Speaking of feminine hygiene, did you guys see that picture Dalan posted a week or so ago of the pool float that looked like a giant pad?
Yes.
Oh, shit. I was like, good thing they don't come with a red racing stripe, eh?
I know. But do they have wings?
Yes, that was my other comment. Do they have wings?
If not, a simple Red Bull will fix that problem.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you wanted to keep somebody from taking it, the red racing stripe would probably be the ticket.
Not necessarily. If somebody was really hungry, they might confuse it for a jelly donut.
Oh.
So we're going into the...
and just like that, nobody will ever eat a jelly donut ever again.
We're going into the realm of Caddyshack sense.
Oy.
Just toss a Snickers bar into the pool.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you know what? That's going to be the case. Not safe for work episode 170. Okay, you know what, motherfucker? Game on. Could be red, could be brown. You just don't know. I may be alone for 12 years, but I still remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. See, I got to find everything.
You just have to be careful. You might get jelly donut on your jelly on your face as well as peanut butter.
Do you remember when the History Channel actually taught history?
Pepperidge Farms remembers.
God damn. Yeah. When the
Learning Channel actually taught you things.
I remember when the Sci-Fi Channel played science fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, here is the history of aliens in the Bible.
Showed
okay, I understand that's science fiction, but wrong channel.
Oh yeah, MTV played videos once upon a time, you say.
Yeah.
I miss Remote Control. That was a great music video or MTV game show. And it was all based on music and music culture.
See, I never got MTV. We had something called Much Music. And then in the 90s, they decided that one channel wasn't enough, so then they had Much More Music.
I'm guessing it was about 2/3 the amount of music that we have over here.
I guess. I don't know.
Could be. Joey,
I'd grown out of it by then.
Joey, you were trying to say something.
Oh, go ahead.
No, he made the comment about... Yeah, sorry.
You know who I feel sorry?
I will say that I do remember when Bravo was the Butch channel.
Yeah. Once upon a time.
Butch channel? See, when we got Bravo,
They showed-
it was like theater and opera.
Well, it used to be like, spaghetti westerns and stuff like that, and then
And showing women
gradually
jumping up and down on trampolines and.
No. When we first got
no,
Bravo,
that was the man show.
Yeah, that was on Comedy Central.
See, Bravo in Canada, when we first got it, it was like theater and opera music. That's basically what it was. We had something called Spike Network for the bouncing boobs and Chuck Norris and crap.
Spike TV is awesome. 1,000 Ways to Die was on there.
I used to watch
Love to
Spike.
I did on occasion.
Spike? Here, boy.
Here.
Here, boy.
And then we have something called
ball.
YTV, Youth Television.
Well, yeah. And nothing wrong with that. I mean, the cool part about it is because, I mean, if memory serves, YTV is on CBC, right?
No, it's its own channel.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of a crossover or something else. The only reason why I'm thinking about it is because back when the little one was still very little, CBC Kids, that was fun because I got a birthday thing in for the little one at the time. I think I videotaped it somewhere still. I got to try to find that. But at the time, the writer's strike was going on, so they had that. And the newscast didn't happen because they had no news. So we went straight over to This Hour Has 22 Minutes and the Red Green Show, and that was fun.
Yeah. Now, here's something you probably remember, Shu.
And then we got to have something worthwhile to rail against again.
Well,
I posted a link for something us to really lose our shit over.
Okay.
Take a look at that.
But I was just going to say one more reminiscent, and you might remember this, Shu. Uncle Bobby Show. You remember the Uncle Bobby Show with Bimbo, the birthday clown?
Gosh dang it, Bobby!
Wrong show.
Bimbo, the birthday clown, was the creepiest fucking thing ever. But when you're
Clearly not seen the original Ronald McDonald.
No, actually, I probably haven't. But
You haven't seen the Japanese version of Ronald McDonald.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yes, I have.
for you guys have got to see this. It's the creepiest fucking thing.
We're having a lot of fun in the studio today.
Yeah.
We hope you are having a lot of fun.
You hear that?
We'd like you to be happy. We've got a birthday.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to show you the words on the hat. There they are. Birthday picker. And it's Darlene, and Darlene is Bunny's babysitter, aren't you?
This is
So,
from the
now take care of
70s,
them. Oh, of course you do.
obviously.
Thank goodness you did, because Bunny is along today to read the Bunny books.
I found a bimbo clown.
Oh. You know what?
Yeah, that's a bimbo, all right.
Open up Bimbo, please.
Come on out, Bimbo, please.
Ah, we get the words right.
Yeah. Oh, come on out, then, and you can all shout with Darlene.
Oh, come on out, Bimbo, please.
Come on then, baby. You can do it. Here's an introduction.
Now, if this
to Bimbo.
doesn't give you fucking nightmares.
Bimbo, the birthday
Dude, it looks like something used for target practice.
happy.
Enough of that, please. I would like to sleep this evening.
Is that not the creepiest fucking thing?
Yeah.
That's very disturbing.
Yeah.
You see, it's two pieces. One, it's the 70s. Two, I had to blink 3 times while I was trying to count how many tabs you've got open this time. I counted 22. Anybody else? 50-50 on this one. 22 tabs.
That's just one browser.
There's another Bimbo the Clown for you.
Oh gosh. The fries, but that's like a Ronald McDonald bimbo.
Yeah, that's a Ronald knockoff.
With pink hair.
This bimbo, I don't know where the fuck they got this idea from, but that's supposed to be a happy kids clown.
Somebody was on some serious drugs.
Hun, it was the 70s. We had HR Puff and Tough at the same time. Yes,
true
there was
that.
plenty.
Everybody was on drugs. The drugs
Fraggle
were
Rock.
on drugs.
Hate
They
it.
had lube.
Did you ever see the Friendly Giant shoe?
Nope.
That was another Canadian staple, but far less creepy. It was just a guy in like a medieval costume, pretending he's in a castle, talking to a giraffe and a chicken.
LSD, man. LSD. Hell of a drug. But, you know, you look at the times, too. Like, look back in the 70s. What they have? They had hippies, man, and they had deadheads and all that stuff. What do we have now? Oh, look. Somebody on bath salts just chewed somebody else's face off. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
we went the wrong way with the drugs. We really did.
Yeah.
We're going to start making different shit.
Yeah, folks, you want to see what the 70s and really, really screwed up art and drugs could probably do for you?
Watch the movie Candy.
No. I need to put into the show notes for you people the link to the Nostalgia Critic for his takedown of the anime version of Jack and the Beanstalk.
Wait, what?
There's an anime Jack and the Beanstalk? Okay.
1975, I think it was. It is fucking creepy. It is really disturbing. It's really, really motherfucking disturbing.
Wikipedia.
74, was it?
Yep, 1974, produced by Group TAC and Nippon Herald Films.
It was
directed
creepy.
by Gisaburo Sugi, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Probably not, but that's okay.
Styled after classical Western animation, it is a musical fantasy based on the fairy tale, the same name. And all songs and score composed and arranged by so-and-so, yada, yada, yada. It was released in Japan on July 20th, 1974, and in the United States by Columbia Pictures in 1976.
Fucking creepy.
Well, it doesn't look... God damn it, start
yes,
working
it is.
right.
Yes, it is.
The cover doesn't look creepy.
No.
See, the cover looks innocent enough if you look at it.
Yeah, it does.
But I'm willing to bet how it plays out is creepy as fuck.
Yep.
Because it's got that the fingernails and the teeth right there, kind of creepy.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Try to get this one out of your head. No one's happier than I. I forget how the rest of it goes, but trust me, you will not get that out of your head after you.
I'm sorry, I got bimbo stuck in my head.
Don't worry, this will take care of it. This will take care of it. Anyway,
I don't think it will.
You say that now. Okay, so tech. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that particular news article go through, and that was horrible. So yeah, you want to go ahead and bring that one? Go right ahead and bring the noise.
I saw that. Yeah.
All right, so basically, here's the background. There is a woman who has a child that is suffering from a genetic disorder carried through DNA, genetics. Okay, this is not something that could have been averted by eating the proper foods or vaccination or anything. The only thing that could have prevented anything like what this kid is going through is by actual gene modification before the child had been born. Okay, something that we not necessarily lack the techniques, the technology to do. It's just nobody's willing to try because of human rights violations, all sorts of fun stuff that nobody wants to tread ground on. So she gets a bill in her mailbox, okay? And mind you, her son is only 3. So the bill was for $500. Okay, that's kind of hefty, but the itemization pointed out that the bill before the insurance took over was going to be over $231,000. Yeah, he had heart surgery. Okay, he has heterotaxy syndrome, rare condition, and it causes the internal organs to be malformed, misplaced, multiplied, or even missing. He's got 2 left lungs, several spleens, 9 different kind of congenital heart defects. So basically, he in the 3 years he's been alive, he's had his chest cracked open for his heart over 4 times. Okay, that bill was for one of them. Now, what she did is she wanted to kind of make a point. So she snapped a picture of her bill and threw it up on Twitter saying, hey, look, it's, here's what my insurance allows for. My insurance, it covers these things. This is what's so important about it. And her Twitter post to the picture says, and I quote, it seems fitting that with the hashtag Trump care debate raging, I got this bill in the mail today from Ethan's most recent open heart surgery. This was on 23rd of June. And initially the first responses were positive. It was hey, yeah, you've got good health insurance. Whatever, one of my questions would have been, had I been following this woman's Twitter post, well, can you tell us which plan you have and with what options? What state is this available in? And, maybe you should make it public on Twitter so that other people who have access, potentially could have access to it, will know what they're kind of getting into and that it's really going to help them out. But eventually, slowly, it graduated from, or I should say, it degraded from positive posts to really shitty posts. Like, here, give your son a bullet, or
oh yeah.
Yeah, like here's a 22 for your kid.
Or you leech for having a child with special needs, blah blah blah.
Right, that the child is a leech on society that because it has so many needs and that shouldn't be allowed to live because of it, basically.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you that are listening right now, I do have I had the story up on the screen for everybody, and right now for everybody to look at is the actual photo of the bill itself. And to give you a little bit of a piece about this one, the larger items that are listed here: room and board, semi-private, $22,500. Coronary care, $47,000. Supply and implants, $43,000.
Lab testing, $15,000.
OR services, $40,500. Aetna payment.
Yep, and that's where they start knocking off the.
Yep.
Aetna's actually pay now. To clarify, because some people are unfamiliar with how insurance companies work. Insurance companies will do 2 things. One, they can renegotiate a price. They they might say, okay, you used this kind of lab test. This lab test in most hospitals only costs $500, and you're trying to charge our client $1,000. I'm sorry, but you can charge them $500, and we will reimburse you, say $450 because that's what we cover under their plan. But you got to bring that price down because you're doing wrong. And sometimes hospitals will kind of get in a little haggling, and they'll knock it down to, say, $700 because of maybe they have the latest and greatest version of the testing equipment that the other hospitals don't have. So they do kind of haggle on your in your defense. That's part of what you're paying for. And the other part that you're paying for is for them to pay the bill. So what we're not seeing on this is if there was any haggling going on the prices that the hospital was charging for those services. So we don't know if these are prices after negotiation with the insurance company or if they're standard rate. But for the Boston Children's Hospital, because it shows there on the bottom right hand side which hospital it is, and I don't want people to use this as, oh, if we have pharmacy, we're going to get this charge. And it's like, no, not necessarily. Okay.
Actually, how it works is the insurance companies, if it's in network, will negotiate a flat out, a contract before anything even happens. Like in the case where I work, Aetna will pay us a flat rate of 16% of billed charges.
Okay, cool.
And that's not negotiable. It's just 16% of billed. And, which is very little. if you're talking oncology.
I've received from my insurance company ones saying that this is what when I took my son to the hospital, this is what they wanted to charge. This is what they got it knocked down to, and this is how much of it they covered, so this is how much is left for me to pay.
Right. I mean, they do a contractual adjustment, but, like in our case, they'll pay 16% of billed charges, and so the contractual would be, 84% off of that.
Okay.
And so if you're paying cash, what you see billed is the cash price, which is why people file bankruptcy if they don't have insurance.
Yeah. Now, to cover a piece about this, actually, I need to stop sharing that screen. There we go. Ah, there's my face
again. The part that's pissing me off is the fact that once started, people started offering, bad advice like kill your kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that you should be ashamed that your child is causing this kind of, use of resources when, if they were just gone, it wouldn't be a problem. It's like, okay, you know what? You go sit in a corner, don't breed, whatever you do, don't reproduce, and we'll be over to chop your nuts off in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
By the way, do you have insurance? Because if you have insurance, we can get the gashing wound sewn up, and have it covered. If not, well, you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps and do it yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so all you people who were suggesting that offing a toddler is a legitimate method of dealing with
cost control.
Yeah. Fuck y'all.
Fuck you.
Go off yourself.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Now, on a different note, and this may piss off some people too, I'm pro-choice and pro-life. I'm for the life after it's been born. That they have insurance coverage, that they have that they have food, that they have shelter, that they have loving members, whether it's adoptive parents or biological parents or that. That's how I'm pro-life. I'm not pro-birth. Okay, not like these frickin' GOPers and all that other shit, and the evangelical, some of these religious nut jobs, I should say. But I'm also pro-choice. Now, if this lady had figured out that this child was going to have all these problems before it, after learning of pregnancy, before it even had started to form, though, beyond, say, the first 4 weeks, and wanted to get an abortion to spare this child, constant surgeries, constant medications and implants and just all this other stuff, I'd back her 100%.
Yep, me too. I
really would. But when the child's already been born, and the child's been growing up, you don't. That's way too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like he was saying, what this kid had is absolutely something that A, is mind-boggling, and B, I don't know any of us can really truly appreciate it. What did he have? Like five livers and 3 left lungs, and stuff was shifted where it wasn't supposed to be, and other stuff was duplicated, triplicated, maybe. And it's like, I mean, by all rights, once upon a time, kid like this would not have lived very long.
Yeah.
And probably would not have. And kid has an opportunity to live. Now, is anybody going to go ahead and start going with the whole, well, if you off the kid, this genetic problem would be out of the gene pool? There's a Skittles reference that I could make here, but I don't really think that I should. Or at least don't have to.
And the other thing is, who's to say that when that child grows up, they even will want to have children? Maybe they'll decide they want to adopt. And then there's going to be a child in the future that gets to have a parent that maybe wouldn't have otherwise, Like, you can't just... assume the negative.
But this also brings something else to attention, and that's actual screenings for predispositions towards genetic abnormalities that can cause these horrible, horrible conditions in children. There are other ones that are even more fatal and even more horrendous than what this little boy's going through. Okay, and they don't live. You get it done. We don't have a tech. You know, it's game over. And the same the same people who are all pro-life, or I call pro-birth, are against things like genetic screening.
Yeah,
it's
because
like, really, go fuck yourself.
Because if you're a woman who has sex, then you need to be punished with a child. As if having a child should be a punishment in the first place, for fuck's sakes. But that's the attitude. If you're a woman that wants to have sex, then there should be consequences, and that's the only consequence that they could think of, is making you have a kid. Because I guess they figure if you have a kid, you're never going to want to have sex again or something. I don't fucking know, but it's stupid.
I don't know. By the way, over in the live chat, and by the way, guys, thank you. I do see you over there, and I am keeping track. Appreciate it. Lynn had put over here, quote, and I forgive me, I've listened to some of the past episodes, and I keep forgetting to remind people that I'm actually quoting from what's being said, so I need to be careful about that. Quote, I have a niece that was born with a disability that is genetic, and she needs regular care and prosthetic that cost a lot, but I wouldn't give her up for anything, unquote. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to take that a little step further because there is not enough vitriol in all of this. And, you know, anybody want to go ahead and jump on this one and dogpile, be my guest. How can anyone go ahead and say that an innocent child should be not given an opportunity, that a parent should just go ahead and off their kid? Who in their right fucking mind would go ahead and do that? Mm-hmm. Seriously, how can anybody go ahead and do that? Because of money. Seriously.
Yeah. It's pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, all right, let's take this one just for a couple more moments. On the north side of the border, kid would be taken care of, right? Pretty much. Your line is, I'm going to free the genie, Heretic Woman, anytime now.
I can free the genie. Sorry.
I've had to do that to other co-hosts on other shows for another thing, but we'll talk about that later, right, Joe? Right, Joe? Yeah, sure, close enough. Very, very well put. Very eloquent in your Italian. I appreciate that. But no, seriously, Heretic Woman, in north of the border, this kid would have been taken care of. It might have been a bit of a strain, but well, that's kind of what everybody puts in for, right?
Exactly. No, you know, and in contrast, one of my cousins, when she first got pregnant, and this is probably close to 10 years ago now, her first child they actually knew ahead of time that it was going to have a severe genetic problem and that it probably wasn't going to live. And now I think she was crazy, but she chose to go full term anyway. And that baby, I can't remember what exactly it was, but it was something to do with the spine or something. But that child lived for all of 3 weeks. And part of the reason that they decided to have the child was so that there could be more research done and hopefully advances made to further the life of that child and any further child, whatever. I'm not going to debate her decision. I don't know that I necessarily agree with it, but that was, 3 weeks of intensive care and just, all kinds of experimental things and all kinds of stuff that they maybe never tried before. And this is just, and they already knew that there probably was not going to be a good outcome. And yet they did everything that they could anyway. And instead of these assholes, they'd probably just be like, well, just go give it a shot and get rid of it kind of thing. Or, go put it in, leave it in the woods for the coyotes kind of bullshit like they used to do 1,000 years ago. Like, give me a fucking break. And yeah, we take care of kids that have issues. Now, I will say one of the things that our system really does fail rather badly at up here is care of autistic spectrum children. They're very reluctant to give the amount of care and support that especially the kids that have a lot of issues need. And I think that's pretty disgusting. I know a good friend of mine who has a very autistic child, like the child's nonverbal, needs a great deal of support. Like they were going to an autistic special school, and that was funded by the government. And get this, according to my friend, because the child was not making the progression the government thought the child should be making, the government removed financial support. And so now my friend has to foot the bill 100%. So they've gone from having a comfortable life where, they had a decent amount of extra income, where, they could do things like, buy nicer things for the kids. They could go on vacation. My friend was actually very generous to other people in the community that needed assistance, and to now where they're almost living paycheck to paycheck because every extra dime has to go into their child's care. Because I mean, who the fuck is the government to say, well, I'm sorry, your kid's not progressing the way we think they should. So, they're just a lost cause. We're just going to cut off funding. Like, what the fuck is that? That's what I don't understand. But other than that, as far as physical, care with injuries or genetic issues or illnesses or whatnot, we take care of the kids.
To be fair, as much as it hurts, and Brigid helped me out on this one a little bit.
Okay.
Dealing with the soft sciences, the psychology sciences, because that's really where autism resides more than anything else. It's still a relatively new field, if I remember correctly. And let's face it, the soft sciences, no matter how you deal with it, mental stuff is, well, it's flimsy, it's soft, it's squishy, and I'm not talking about the brain itself. It's hard to really nail this stuff down.
Yeah,
it is, and there are so many different theories on how to best treat children like this. There's no set standards. There are standards that they go by as far as diagnosis, but as far as treatment, it's an art. It's not really a science.
Even diagnosing mental issues, it's comparable to a guy who worked on the Enigma machine trying to decode an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough.
It's not an exact science by any stretch, but it just boggles my mind that, we haven't got the results we wanted, so we're just going to quit. That's what I don't get.
Well, they kind of do that here too. There are certain limits in people's insurance coverage where they will not approve more than, say, 20 or 30 visits of therapy a year unless there will be improvement. But if it's to maintain a person's level of functioning, they won't pay for it.
Which
And,
I don't get. I don't get that at all.
I guess because it's so expensive, but there are people who are, having to pay $10,000 or $20,000 a month out of pocket for therapy for things that are not covered, and people just don't have that kind of money.
Exactly. It's like one of the things that is not covered here is physical therapy. So, for instance, when I buggered up my shoulder, which was like 20 years ago, but it flared up a good 10 years ago. And one of the things was, oh, well, you should go to physical therapy for it. Well, physical therapy costs $50 a session with, it would think the initial session was $70. And at the time, they weren't really doing very much for me, I didn't think, but just think. So at one point, I looked into what I might have to do if I needed to go on disability. And the nurse practitioner said, well, they would want you to go completely through as much physical therapy as you could. And I'm like, well, if I can't afford physical therapy because I'm not working, how is that supposed to work? Well, you can't get disability unless you go through physical therapy, but we don't cover that.
Yeah, there's something that I need to hit on really quickly, because this, it doesn't matter. Power 10. It fucking pisses me off every time I go looking at fucking numbers. I've used this argument over and fucking over again, and it pisses me fucking off so bad it's not even funny. The military spending in the United States, and this is not going to seem like it's going to make any kind of sense for a second, but follow me a second. The United States, and I've talked about this one before on a previous episode, and I keep referencing it. 2015, the budget that we have here in the U.S. for the military spending is the equivalent of the next 15 countries combined. According to what I've got right now, for 2016, our military budget is 3.3% of our GDP. For those of you that don't understand what this means, roughly 3% of all of the money that we generate, if I've remembered the way the explanation for it, is spent towards the military. In Canada, that number is 1%. Mm-hmm. Now, does this directly translate to how much money is spent for the general good for the country as opposed to, the military? Well, correlation is not causation, but at the same time, fuck me. Seriously, all that money that goes, over half of the budget goes to military spending in my country. And I've said this before, you take a third of that out, wow, it's amazing the shit that you can get done. Like, I don't know, healing people that need to be healed, and getting water to people that need to have water, and, getting us teleported to the moon. I mean, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My pet project.
Kind of on subject with that, did you guys notice the Rand Paul quote that was making the rounds again this week?
Oh God, which one now?
Oh, well, apparently he originally said this back in 2011, but it was being resurrected again.
Is this another one of these quotes that all of a sudden just came back around and bit somebody in the ass?
Oh, yeah. Well, it bit him in the ass then, but it's biting him in the ass again. It is kind of long, but he said, with regard to the idea of whether you have a right to health care, you have the right to realize what that implies. It's not an abstraction. I'm a physician. That means you have a right to come to my house and conscript me. It means you believe in slavery. It means you're going to enslave not only me, but the janitor at my hospital, the person who cleans my office, and the assistants who work in my office, the nurses.
I think I've heard this one.
Basically, once you imply a belief in a right to someone's services, do you have the right to plumbing? Do you have a right to water? Oh, for fuck's sakes. Do you have a right to have food? You're basically saying you believe in slavery. You're saying you believe in taking and extracting from another person. Our founding documents were very clear about this. You have a right to pursue happiness, but there's no guarantee of physical comfort. There's no guarantee of concrete items. In order to give something concrete, you have to take it from someone. So there's an implied threat of force. And it's I'm a physician in your community and you have a right to health care. Do you have a right to beat down my door with the police, escort me away, and force me to take care of you? That's ultimately what the right to free health care would be. If you believe in a right to health care, you're believing in basically the use of force to conscript someone to do your bidding. What the fuck?
I have a one-word answer to that.
Yeah.
Teachers.
Yeah.
Public school. Oh, so what you're saying is public school teachers are slaves then? They have they have to be in the school system. They can be publicly pulled from their home by the police using that logic. That you know, they can be held hostage and that their families have no say. Yeah, you know what? That right there, the argument breaks down. Have a nice day. Fuck you. Goodbye.
The only time that teachers
Why does it break down?
Well, hold on one second. The only time that teachers are held at gunpoint for this kind of thing is when the guns are brought in from people who shouldn't have them in the first place. Oh, and by the way, as a refutation for that whole argument,
bullshit.
Anyway, so Joseph, sure, go ahead. Go ahead, War.
Yeah, I was asking, why does that argument break down in Tech's explanation? How does it break down?
Well, okay,
what
here's
are
how
they trying to say?
Here's how it breaks down. The guy is saying that if a person has a right to health care, right, as paid through by taxes, rather than personal buy, okay, the way it currently works, then that means that a doctor has no rights to not do their job, that they could be forced from their home, right? Like what he's saying, the words that he's using about how believing in healthcare for everybody in this country means believing in the police can knock down on a doctor's door and force them to go to work at a hospital. Okay. Yeah. So what you're saying, if it's publicly available, well, right now we have public school, which is a guaranteed right for children between certain age group, okay? And not only is it a guarantee, it's actually enforced. The children have to go to school unless the parents can prove that they're homeschooling, or bad things happen. And using his logic, that means that if a teacher doesn't want to go to school and teach, they have no choice. A policeman could come to their house and arrest them and take them to school to teach. But that's absolutely not.
Or they could be fired.
They could be fired.
But the doctor's not talking about being fired. That guy's
why does his argument, first off, his argument is just so disingenuous. I mean, it shouldn't even be addressed. But
the point is
if you're going to discredit his argument, you have to be able to demonstrate what he's trying to do and what he's doing in his argument.
I just did.
He's being hyperbolic is what he's doing.
Yeah. See, what Tech is putting out is, if you want to go with the idea that a publicly funded job, if the premise is, if we publicly fund healthcare and doctors are paid by the government for their time and services, that they do not have a choice and they must be brought in to do those services. We already have a situation where teachers are paid for as a public service through taxes, and they do not get pulled in to work if for any reason they don't want to, or they're sick, or they want to take time off, or whatever the heck it is. Can they be fired? Yes, but that's a different matter. It's a matter of that.
But it's not.
It is. Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
If
But
they're
that's why his
fired,
argument
hold
doesn't
it,
work,
hold it,
because the threat of force doesn't exist if the teacher could just be fired or the doctor can just be dismissed.
But
that's not what he's saying. Yeah, but that's not what he's saying. The guy is saying you can't be the guy is not saying that the doctors can be dismissed. They're saying that the doctors can be compelled. I don't know that you do. Hold on. The doctors would be compelled to perform a service. What you're saying is the teachers could be removed from those services.
No, I'm saying his argument, I understand. His argument is saying these people would be, there's a threat that they would be brought in by force to do whatever. But the reality is that they would just be dismissed if they didn't fulfill their role.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with a doctor. If a doctor doesn't feel like they want to go to a hospital one day,
or it doesn't work,
then the hospital reserves the right to terminate their employment. Not have a police officer show up and drag their ass into the hospital.
Yeah.
So that's where the guy's argument breaks down. It's like, I'm sorry, but if that whole statement, right, if it truly did apply to doctors, then it would also apply to teachers in the public school system.
Which is an example that we've already got in place, and we can use
he's implying that there's a totalitarian state in existence that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
And it's ironic because it's probably the very thing he's trying to promote.
Yeah, they're the ones that want it in the first place, and they're bitching about it supposedly already existing.
And from there on, like, I wouldn't only demonstrate the logic of his argument, but I'd also look at the motive. What is his motive for making that argument? What does he want?
FUD. It's the same thing we keep talking about. FUD.
No, but what do you want? You spread FUD. There's a reason why. There's a reason why everybody does everything. Why does he want to spread FUD? What does he?
Because he wants.
There's
he
a
wants
problem.
more money.
What does he wants to propose himself as a solution?
He wants to take money away from the poor and give it to the rich.
Okay, and let me go off of that one a little bit because I forgot. I need to clarify. FUD stands for FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Now, the reason why I'm saying it this way is that what is this guy trying to do? He's trying to make people scared of the new by giving a boogeyman that cannot and does not exist, even in the current market that we have now, in order to keep people from thinking that it is a possibly good thing. Now, the other thing that could be thrown out there and has before is, what are you, a socialist?
Yeah. Oh,
no. Socialism is, geez.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one of those. It is
bad.
Terrible. Oh.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's exactly used for exactly that purpose. That's what insurance is for. That's what paying taxes is for. I don't drive on the Southern State Parkway outside of New York City anymore, but taxes that I put into my state end up trickling into there, maybe just a little bit, but it's still there, even though I will probably never drive down there again. I will never drive up to Ogdensburg, New York, but some of the tax money goes to the roads up there anyway, because state roads. Well, it's the same goddamn thing. That's socialism.
I don't even have kids, but I'd pay taxes for education because today's students are my future customers.
Yep, Joey, you know the quote that we're suddenly thinking about with that one, right? Mr. Green, Mr. John Green. You saying something would be.
Yeah, sorry, just fading a little bit. Yeah, I like to pay taxes because I want to live around a bunch of uneducated idiots.
That's it. That's what it comes down to. And that's the problem.
You know
when
what
I
want
say
to know?
Get off my lawn, I want people to understand me.
Well, if you'd speak it in the Queen's native tongue, it would be fine.
No, en français, en français.
Dégage de mon pelouse.
Yeah.
You know what? If you say it in German, it doesn't matter. whether you speak it or not, people will get the idea because
Yes.
nobody wants to be around anybody. You could say "I love you" in German and scare the shit out of people.
It still sounds like you're pissed off.
It sounds
Well, a
like
more
it's
natural way of saying it'd be "Fout le camp de magasin."
Yeah, there you
anyway.
go. But you know what I want to know.
Dégage de magasin. Mon gazon.
De fromage.
Ouais, je sais.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? No.
Ouais, non, merci. J'en ai déjà. Ça fait déjà
Anyway.
3 fois, chérie.
What I want to know, though, because Rand Paul's like, well, you have a right to pursue happiness. Well, how the fuck are you supposed to do that if you're dead?
Good point.
And
You know-
happiness is in yourself, so you're free to chase your own tail. In other words,
And he completely missed the right to life part, which kind of goes with healthcare, dumbass.
these kind of platitudes, it's almost like a distraction
Yeah.
from like what they're really up to. I mean, somebody who spouts those kind of platitudes that just kind of triggers the alarm bells of the skeptic in me.
Yeah.
as well it should. I mean, whenever there's something where somebody's going to go ahead and do something that is hyperbolic, say something that's hyperbolic, put an idea out there that it's just boogeyman talk. Yeah, of course we should be, sitting up and going, well, wait a minute. What did you just say?
Yeah.
And now that I saw and took apart what you said, let me find out why. Because it's amazing what happens when you start to follow the money. And
follow
I'm
the
not saying
rabbit
that
hole.
everybody... Yeah.
Follow the rabbit hole all the way down. I mean, there's a reason for everything we do. There is, whether you want to admit it or not, you get a personal benefit out of everything you do. Like, basically what we're doing here among us is basically exchanging survival information.
Sure.
I mean, better advising each other on discussing how to get by in our environment, discuss what's going on to better understand it. But, the same thing if somebody's comes at you with weird sort of claims, there's a reason for them doing that. So like dig down to it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, advice, things like parking a boat in a really fast-moving river upstream from a bridge is probably a really good place to be when the zombie apocalypse finally hits. That's my plan. Don't take my plan.
But somebody spreading FUD is in
First
a very
off-
disingenuous and indirect and smarmy and backhanded and passive-aggressive way is proposing themselves as a solution, or whoever they're beholden to.
Yeah, and truth be told, anybody that wants to go ahead and do the whole FUD thing, that's despicable to me. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're intentionally scaring people into not investigating even, which I'll go ahead and say it. Religion, thank you.
Yeah.
And fuck you too, by the way.
Well, and what he's basically saying, because he keeps going on about slavery, is the same bullshit as, oh, you're Islamophobic, right?
Might as well just shout bad word, bad word, bad word.
Yeah, it's like you're something bad because you think this way. It's like, oh, well, if you think you have a right to anything, then you think slavery is okay. Like, this is bullshit. Utter bullshit.
Feel bad, feel guilt.
Yeah.
And never mind slavery, conscription.
Yeah.
But slavery still fucking exists, but they just don't call it that anymore. They just found another way to do it.
It's called prison.
Well, it's called being paid below a living wage.
Hold up.
That too.
To be fair, you get paid in prison.
Yes, you do. So
It's penance, but yes, you do.
yes, you do. Which is, I guess, why they technically can't call it slavery.
Yeah, well, it's like, I know I've said this before, but like, in slavery days, well, the slave owner had to they kept their workers on the plantation, and they gave them shitty house and shitty food. And these days, well, people don't live on the plantation anymore, but they can't even afford shitty house and shitty food.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a thing that came out recently, or relatively recently, that said if you were working minimum wage full time, how much would you have to work? No, sorry. If you're working minimum wage, how much would you have to work in hours per week to afford an average 1-bedroom apartment in that particular state? And there are a number of states in the United States where they applied this that said you literally would have to be working all of the hours of the week in order to afford. You would not be able to eat or sleep or do anything other than work in order to afford that. And I'll be the first one to admit it. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, there's no excuse for somebody having a full-time job who has to be on food stamps or who can't pay rent or who can't pay for the basics of living with a full-time fucking job.
And what work is the landlord doing to justify taking like almost the totality of somebody else's salary?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, there's another thing that has to be addressed.
See, therein lies a problem, because it could be a matter of that it's supposed to be offsetting taxes, and hold on, it could be a matter of offsetting taxes on the property as well as maintenance and upkeep costs. Now,
well, if you can take the totality of that argument, you can justify it. But if it's only like, you know, 10% of everything, then there's no way that monthly rent that does not even cover partly the money that's taken in.
The whole idea of, you know, more and more and more and more. So, like the idea that you, well,
it's you know, it's, you've got people in a position of, they've got an advantage, a position of privilege, and they're just exploiting it.
Yeah, like the idea that you should raise your rent every fucking year. Why is that necessary? Like that there should be no need for that.
Except that it's a complicated piece. It's a combination of inflation and additional services that need to be paid for through taxes. Hold on. And it's a big economic cycle that is a bitch to unravel, because there are several pieces. The biggest of which is, of course, the difference in the, God, I forgot what the technical terminology is for it, but basically comes down to the inflationary power that's
why don't you just say tradition?
Yeah,
it could be.
I don't even understand why, like, I don't know shit about economics, but I don't understand why inflation is even a thing. Like, why can't we just have things cost the same all the time?
Well, that's small scale greed. That's your local merchant, you know,
right.
Just taking as much as he can. Like, okay, I'm going to put up the price of avocados by 2 cents.
Well, that's what I mean by more and more and more. It's this idea that the profit that you have now just isn't enough, and you have to have more profit, more profit, more profit.
Well,
it's just it's personal, but follow that all the way down, because I mean it's personal comfort. That's what it's down to. It's a state of comfort. Okay, so you know, if I can get 2 more cents for every avocado, well, I can make that final payment on my car next month. And I mean, that's why I kind of have to laugh at conspiracy theorists, because the reality is that it's just the world today is a sum of individual behavior.
Yeah, I'll get that in a second. Joey, go ahead, and then I got something off of the chat.
Well, a portion of that also comes from the dissolution of the gold standard, You know, we really don't have anything backing our money at this point. And we adjust the value for it based on, okay, how much did the mint print? How much is it worth on par with, say, you know, the British pound, or, you know, yada, yada, yada. And even with gold standard, you also have to take into account things like, okay, how much gold was mined, you know, this year, or how many valuable items, how many valuable minerals have been mined and added to the economic
Stockpile.
base.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to think, we're still mining gold out of the ground. We're still mining diamonds, still mining uranium.
Yeah. So out of the chat, by the way, and yes, by the way, economics, don't get me started on that. I know some, but it's anyway.
I don't think any of us here are teachers of economics at this point.
No, no,
well,
not by a long shot.
No, true, but good example. Spain, for a long time, was a major European superpower. Why? They had a whole lot of gold and silver mines, and if they ran out of money, well, that's fine, because we've got more gold and silver that's going to be hauled up, you know, any day now, and we can go ahead and just stamp more money out of it.
Yep. So here we go. Out of the chat, from Lynn, quote, "Yeah, at least slaves get paid room and board. Now people struggle to eat and put gas in a crappy car just to get back to work," unquote. Funny enough, I did see something that said that the current economics, people can't afford on current wages brand new cars the same way that they used to. So there is more surplus of new cars, and older cars are being traded much more often comparatively. Now, I don't have any firm numbers. This is just something that I saw. I didn't get the chance to really vet it, but with the way that we've been seeing complaints about, well, millennials are letting restaurants die because they're not going out and spending money on dinner anymore, but they're not saving money anymore because they're spending it on stuff that, you know, which is
not their money. They're too young. It's their parents' money.
Well, it could very well be, but
when the millennials run out of their parents' money, we're going to be in a world of shit.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that plays out. Anyway, so yeah, there's all that. And secondly, from Colleen, quote, "Those stuck on SSI, Social Security Insurance, don't even get enough to live. $733 a month at most currently," unquote. Now, I don't know what the current numbers are. I can only go by that. And that's, well, you do the numbers. That's, all right, 7,000, roughly $8,000 a year, roughly. I don't know what the poverty level is, but I'm guessing that's below it. I'm just spitballing here. I'm pretty sure. What's that, Bridge?
That's well below it.
Any idea? Because I'm pretty sure the number is something like 26 grand, maybe.
It's 20 something. I'd have to Google it real quick, but I know it's more than 22.
Okay. So yeah, there's that.
Well, it was about 20 some years ago when I got unemployed for a spell, and I applied for welfare here in Ontario. So I would have been about 22-ish, 21, 22 at the time. And now, granted, I was a young, able-bodied person who could get a job eventually. But at the time, you know, I needed something while I was still trying to get work. And I don't think it has changed much in the last 20 some years. As a single young person, I was allotted $520 a month, and that barely paid my rent. And I don't think it covered my car insurance. but like I could eat. And I remember saying to the caseworker at the time, well, that doesn't give me enough money to pay for a telephone. And she said, well, you're not entitled to a telephone. I said, well, how am I supposed to find a job if I don't have a telephone? And this is like pre-cell phone era. This was just a freaking plain ass landline. And, well, I'm sorry, you're not entitled to have a phone.
Get those tom-toms going.
Yeah. But I remember, like, you know, even being absolutely stunned, like, how the fuck am I supposed to get a job if I didn't have a phone? Now, luckily, as Joseph put it so nicely, I had parents that were able to shuffle me some money, so I kept my phone and my car insurance. But I mean, and I get the idea that you don't want to just give people oodles of money so they're never incentivized to work and all of that. I get it. But if people can't even have the ability to get a job, then what the fuck are you doing? You're shooting yourself in the foot if they can't even get a job because you're not paying them enough to even have the basics of life necessity to get a job. A homeless person can't get a job because they don't have an address, right? And if they don't have an address, they can't clean. Like it causes so many extra issues that prevent exactly what you want to happen. So the logic involved is just ridiculous to me.
Well, there is a logic, but the litany I got was, you know, well, Joseph, we're not going to support you. And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't want that either. But, you know, yeah, technically, you know, making sure I'm okay until I find a job is supporting me. But, yeah, you're kind of missing the point there.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why people, you know, once you're at a certain level in society, you're stuck there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a thing. Okay, you know what? Before I go ahead and do this, let me make a note for myself, and I'll close with what I'm thinking about at this point because it'll take a minute. Anybody's got something else to throw out there because, like I said, the piece that I'm going to do is just, it's a little numbing, unfortunately. So, who else has got something else that they want to throw out there? Because I think, yay.
You mean on this topic or different topic?
We'll move on to something else for the time being.
Okay. Well, Joseph, this I have to share this. This is what we were talking about earlier that you missed. This is what happened earlier in your lovely country.
Oh, jeez.
What? Wait.
Yeah, get your screen out.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't quite look under her skirt, but he may as well have.
Yeah, you might as well explain it to the people who are not.
Yeah, so
I did read a bit about that. Well, but just what a weird comment. You're in great physical shape.
So,
I mean, that's like there's an obvious negative connotation behind there.
Yeah,
but you know that's what I hate with ambiguity. I mean, there's something negative there, but you can't quite nail it down. But it's there.
It's, well, when Trump was introduced to Macron and his first lady, he said in regards to her, she's in such good physical shape. Beautiful.
Can you imagine yourself saying that to somebody else? Like, what would you be thinking when you said that? It's just like already that's.
I know.
The
like
impression I had of Trump was that he was evaluating somebody's livestock.
Yeah, not bad. I know she's older than you, but she still looks good. It's kind of like...
Yeah, or I'm surprised that she actually looks decent, you know? That's kind of the backhandedness of it is, wow,
it's coming from a guy who
looks
prefers
good.
girls like half his age. Or younger.
Less. Yeah. You know, or his daughter. But yeah, I'm surprised. You know what? I commend her for not clubbing him over the head with her purse because I probably would have.
And if you follow that all the way down, is basically what he's doing is comparing comfort bubbles. But anyways.
Yeah.
You know,
if we ever have a topic solely dedicated to human behavior, let me know.
we will see about that.
That could take a while.
It might, but the thing that gets me, if I forgot what her title is, Andrea Merkel.
Oh, Chancellor of Germany.
She gets it. I love her more and more every time she meets Trump.
If Chancellor Merkel did not dope slap that motherfucker, which I would have loved, because she could have, if she at the G20 summit, if she had done it, she could have gone ahead and it would have been beautiful. She could have gone. Do I have a? You know, I'll use this over here. She could have just gone ahead and dope slapped him, and when everybody came after him, diplomatic immunity.
Yeah. Well, who was it that Trump and Melania were meeting at the G20, and it was a couple, and the man goes and shakes Trump's hand, and the woman like turns as if she was going to shake Trump's hand, but then walks right by him and goes to Melania.
The wife of the Polish guy?
Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah.
That was priceless.
I mean, she eventually,
Beautiful.
supposedly, she eventually did shake his hand.
Yeah,
But that was just beautiful. She just walked right the fuck past him. Was like, oh, hello, Melania.
But the look on his face was priceless.
It was. He was like, "What the fuck, bitch?"
I'd like him to try to do that. I'd love an occasion to try, so that he would try his pull handshake on me.
Yeah.
There's a step you can do that would make him fall flat on his ass if he tried that.
Oh shit, that'd be funny.
Actually, if memory serves, Justin Trudeau was the second public figure. No, he was the first international. No, he wasn't. He was the second after a representative from Japan.
Okay.
And Justin Trudeau knew it was coming. He knew about it. And somebody had to have coached him, because he did not give any fucks or quarter, and it was so fun to watch, because it was just like, hi, let me show you what kryptonite looks like. Wham! Nobody moved.
Well, and the thing is Justin is also a trained boxer.
Whoa, time? What?
You didn't know that? Oh my gosh. Hang on, I gotta show you. You didn't know that Justin actually boxed another senator for charity before he was prime minister?
I need to know. Okay. While you're looking that up, by the way, for folks that want to know,
for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
For folks that want to know just how awesome Justin Trudeau is, first off, he's not his dad. Okay, let's go with that. Second, at a recent Pride rally, he was there, and there are photos of him down with a little itty bitty teeny tiny little girl, and he's wearing rainbow colored socks. That was cool. But then there was this great picture of him. I don't know if it was a selfie or whatever it was, but he was hugging on with this sick guy who had a rainbow turban, and they could not have Sikh. They could not have been smiling brighter than anything else at that point. They eclipsed the sun. They were so brilliantly happy.
Okay, you thought Justin was cool? Check this out. Oh, and here we go. This is him, and that's another senator, Canadian senator, and they had a charity boxing match. Senator.
Wait. How do we sign Trump up for a boxing match?
And this is quite a few years ago when he was just a liberal member of parliament.
I'm sorry. Could that senator not afford like more material for his trunks? That I don't know what's going on.
That is Senator Patrick Brazeau.
He's got a mullet.
And believe it or not, he was a conservative senator.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh, here's another shot.
Yeah, conservative in Canada is something
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And here's a more Olympic style looking one. Can I what?
Could you get me a link before we get done? Because I want to wrap that up, because the folks that are listening, yeah, I think you would want to see that. And I got to see about updating the website during the summer. Oh, by the way, for those of you that for whatever reason did not know or would not have known, yeah, Joey did have to drop out because he was a little tuckered out, which no sweat. Take care of yourself, man. He's probably asleep already, which good.
But that's kind of, this one's too small because that was the iconic. There we go. That was the iconic picture that was spread around at the time. Yeah.
and women are swooning.
And yes, our prime minister has tattoos.
That is a. Wait a second. That is a not. I was going to say it's a tribal. That's not a tribal. That's an indigenous.
That's an indigenous. Yep, that's an indigenous tattoo.
Seneca, to be precise.
Which, sorry?
Seneca.
Please explain.
I think it's the tribe it comes from.
Okay.
Seneca. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Seneca?
Seneca, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can always look it up.
Oh, hang on, Brigid. I found another one for you.
Oh, good Lord.
There you go.
Definitely easy on the eyes.
That one's got more of the torso.
Now if you just get them turned around. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Excuse me while I go wank.
Well, now we know Joseph is into torso boys.
And you know what? In the grand scheme of things,
that's a guy. Wow. Okay.
That's but now you see how
I don't care what it is. It's cute.
But now you see the whole handshake with Trump takes on a whole other level, because Justin could have flattened his ass and he didn't.
It's a good
easily flat, because if memory serves, I do believe Justin won that charity boxing match.
That's the way it looked.
Yeah.
Which, if nothing else, he did it on class alone. He could afford real trunks. I mean, it's one thing to go to a charity boxing match and you're in your street clothes. I mean, you have a good laugh. Okay. For those of you that are listening and haven't seen the picture yet, Justin Trudeau had like legit boxing trunks. The other guy looked like he was ready for wrestling.
Sponsored by Hanes.
I don't know. No, unless Hanes has suddenly got black lame. No.
Like would go for American wrestling.
Yeah.
Not the Olympic sport, but the crap they show on TV.
Brought to you by Fruit of the Loom.
Hey, well, Colleen says there's nothing wrong with the small trunks, gives a much better show.
Yeah, Colleen, a problem with that. That's not trunks. You may be able to see a trunk, but there is no trunk where we're talking about with the amount of material, or lack thereof, actually.
That's about as bad as Speedos, and nobody should wear Speedos.
Here's another angle for you guys. There you go. Nope. I think it is a Speedo, actually.
No.
I'm pretty sure it is.
One or the other, I'm completely comfortable with my sexuality.
Oh, and Brigid, you're talking about... That's a senator.
Familiar.
Good grief.
Yeah, I forget. Oh, that's too small.
Unnamed senator.
There we go.
Familiar.
No, Patrick Brazeau.
Otherwise known as unnamed senator number 3 from that porno production. That's great.
I don't know if you can tell in the one I've got up right now, but he's wearing a big old cross, big gold cross.
Yeah, I see that.
See,
Oh, it's a cross. I thought the thing was a butt plug.
no, not nearly big enough.
I wear the sign of my masters.
And
Yeah,
why do I know
that
that?
was something else.
See, when you're doing contact sports, wearing a cross is a really bad idea because that's a big old target. Where do you want to hit somebody? Right in the cross, right there. Why?
Oh, by the
Usually
way,
right by the neck. You don't
this
want to
is
get hit in the
what
neck.
this is what Trudeau used to look like when he was channeling Joseph.
I like it better without the facial hair.
Wait.
That's he.
Oh no, I would never do that. Are you joking?
Oh,
That's like
shit.
That's like part Iron Man. He hasn't quite got the full Tony Stark going.
That's true.
It looks like a
There you go.
What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Like,
don't know what-
I haven't had enough to drink to have the full
a
Tony
bear
Stark yet.
gay slid down his face and
Listen, I'm just saying, amateur beard hour does occur,
work in progress, eh?
That was the year that he called another member of parliament a piece of shit in the House of Commons.
And then he went and pasted it on his face.
Don't. Even I've got standards. Even I've got standards. Shut up.
Hey, your skid marks go on your shorts, eh?
Shut up. That's why I wear black all the time. Shut up. All right, so we've only got a couple minutes. Anybody got a last?
Thank goodness this show's not scratch and sniff.
Oh shit!
We are never
Yeah,
inviting
Hello,
Eli Bosnick.
Rama.
I don't care.
their shit doesn't stink. Don't you know anything?
I eat lavender.
I eat sage.
I got a rock.
Garlic and mustard.
I want to smell like the Italian I am.
Okay, move right along.
I eat garlic, mustard, and anchovies.
Dude, you will
shit.
never get a woman to suck your dick knowing that.
no, that's bad.
Oh shit! I don't know how old this one is, but I don't think I've ever seen that look before.
Well, he looks legal, so you should be fine.
Well, you must have a lot of professional photographer friends.
I think so. He's 3 months older than me.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
There you go. You can bang him.
I think Sophie might have something to say about that.
Ask his permission first.
Yeah, that. By the way, Heretic Woman, that
Yes.
picture that you just had,
Yes.
bring that back up a second.
Okay, hang on one
I'm not done yet.
sec.
Yeah, no.
Hang on.
Because
I just
Hold on, she's staring at his dick.
I am not.
it's not.
I
Bring it
gotta
a bit
find
lower.
it again.
Stop it. Anyway, so when the picture is back here on the screen, because we're going to have it in a second, because you need to see this, otherwise you're not going to remember.
Hang on.
There's only one thing that's missing from this picture. Whenever it gets back up on the screen, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stall
trying.
for time because she can't figure out how to work with Ms. Ashley. Help!
It was like another picture in.
So
Like clicked
Heretic
on
Woman,
one and it wasn't
do
the
you
same
usually
one.
have performance problems when it's on demand requests?
Yes.
Only from guys, and only from me.
I don't understand why it's not there anymore.
Stop pressuring me.
Yeah, why are you doing that? By the way, Colleen.
Oh, there it is. Hang
Okay,
on.
good.
Hang
Hold
on.
on.
There it
Colleen,
is.
quote, why is it I show up somewhere and the conversation gets dirty? Colleen, this has nothing to do with you. This is what happens every
We
time
can
we
smell
have
you.
every time we have a 0 at the end of one of our episode numbers. That's the hole we keep fucking with. That's what it's there for.
Yep.
Okay, so
There you go.
there's the picture. Okay, for those of you that are looking at the picture at this point, and those of you that are listening right now, fuck you.
He's missing a guitar.
What he's missing, if you look, his left wrist is missing a Casio LCD watch that hooked up to his black Trans Am. That's what he's missing. He is a dead fucking ringer for Michael Knight. He's a dead fucking ringer for Michael Knight right there.
Yeah, actually he is. Except that Michael Knight never had a beard.
I thought he was missing his sombrero.
There was the one who drove the truck.
I don't even know what the fuck that one is.
I don't know. I don't know. So do we have any last second, like really quick, that somebody just wants to just drop there and we'll just leave it to die?
Fuck Mitch McConnell.
Haven't we done that already?
That's
You know
a
what?
good one.
Wait.
That's a good one.
Time.
Was it Tech?
You said fuck Mitch McConnell's. Do we have time?
Yeah, because real quickly, they're not going to go ahead and vote on the new healthcare bill because John McCain is out right now after having surgery for a blood clot near his eye, and they're going to wait until he comes back because they want every goddamn Republican they can possibly get to get as many yes votes as they can. And to paraphrase from Hamilton, and I know the little one's going to hear it eventually, they ain't got the votes. They ain't got the votes.
Don't rock the vote. Don't rock the vote. Don't rock the vote. Baby.
Oh, don't even. Yeah. So that was something
I
that we.
despise Mike Pence and I despise Donald Trump, but I loathe Mitch McConnell.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy is.
He is a piece of shit.
Oh,
I hate you.
truth.
I hate you. I hate you. Oh no, you. I don't hate. I loathe you. I hate you. I hate you. You're okay. I hate you. You can fuck off.
Yeah.
Well-
Mitch McConnell, is that Turtle Man?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
just
He
a
comes out of his
smarmy,
shell
evil
for
bastard.
people. No, he comes out of his shell for people with money.
Yeah. Or he stuffs all the money in his shell.
Oh, excuse me.
Well done.
Is that a
And I
quote?
just don't understand how he keeps getting re-elected. What the fuck is wrong with people in Kentucky?
People are
Seriously.
stupid. I mean,
It's Kentucky.
Nope. Okay. Anybody? One last item that they want to throw out there. Actually,
but
Tech
it's not
or
their
Joe.
fault.
Well,
You talked over each other, and I heard my name. What?
yeah, Tech or Joe. If there's one thing that you guys want to just like drop on the doorstep and we just plow past it, that's
That's the
been
third time
waiting.
you've said that.
Yes, and I've talked, and Heretic Woman have talked, and you guys didn't get an opportunity to just drop something, so I figured I'd give it a chance before I close this out. You know, I try to be nice about these kinds of things. I try to be nice, motherfucker. I try to actually consider your fucking feelings. Is that really so bad? Is that so wrong? Really? Do I need to go ahead and start turning up all of the echo in order to make you understand all this shit?
That's more like it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over the constant sound of your bitching and whining.
Exactly. That's kind of the point.
Well, I couldn't hear you over the sound of how awesome I am.
There
Yeah,
you
that's
go.
already one hell of an echo.
I just want to say I just found a picture of Trudeau from last year's Pride posing with a topless woman.
Okay,
I'm not
that I
gonna
want to
sh-
see. I want to see it.
After we go off the air,
Power 10. Fuck it. We can do
It's
whatever.
Power 10.
I'm pretty
People
sure
listening can
boobs.
see it.
I'm pretty sure boobs aren't allowed on on YouTube.
You know
okay, fine.
Hold it. Fine. You know what?
What? Okay, female boobs.
Wow.
I've
You know,
never done that before.
I've been working out, and I can actually make my pecs go like this now. And since I have weight on me, I have like these small micro boobs that I can make bounce like this without touching them. I'm gonna make. So hold on a second while I readjust the camera here.
I'm gonna. Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. He said he wasn't wearing pants.
I assume won't be wearing a shirt.
Uh-oh.
This is about the time the old TV test screen comes up.
One would expect. All right, so let me go ahead. Let me just go ahead and just close this whole damn thing out. Which, by the way, yes, I did finish all of my coffee, and it was fucking
Well,
delicious.
Colleen says that was more of Shujin than I ever thought I would see.
Honestly, I missed it.
Don't worry, it'll be on the playback later.
Yeah.
So here's where we're gonna close it out. A couple weeks, some months ago, actually, at this point, I made a reference to E3. That was what the 5-minute freestyle was, E3, where I made reference to how the difference between the north and the south line for vertical symmetry between we versus me in how we interact with each other is so different. On the north side, it's much more we. On this side, it's much more me.
Mhm.
This lays into this again, because remember I was talking about how fucking insane it is to deal with economics. One of the few things that I took away from economics classes from college, and I did not pass college, I did not fail, I just had to withdraw because I was not doing well enough and it was not working out for good. This I did learn. And it's going to sound stupid. It's going to sound simplistic, but the supply and demand axes, you charge as much as you possibly can in order to sell whatever product you have for enough to make your costs plus whatever amount of profit you can make on top of that. And you squeeze that as much as you possibly can. Now, that's how the capitalist business model works. What happens when you take exactly that same model into healthcare? It's a product that you are providing. It's a service. And you need to sell it to a certain number of people for, theoretically, a product, as a product for profit, because otherwise, what the hell is the point? And if you need to lop off the pieces that are costing you your profit margin, that's just the cost of doing business. That's the fucking model that we have in my country for healthcare. How can I say that with all certainty? Simple. How often do people get said to, well, if you didn't want to pay this much at this hospital, why didn't you find out how much it would cost at a different hospital, at a different doctor, with a different specialist, at a different clinic? This is what happens. If you did think that you'd be able to afford going to a hospital, well, why didn't you ask how much it was going to cost you before you went there? Because you don't go pricing out how much is it going to be between, I don't know, a private ambulance service versus your local ambulance that's attached to your firehouse. You don't ask, because at that point, you probably can't, because you might actually be unconscious. And what are they going to do? Wake you up just so they can find out, oh, yeah, this is what our bill would be? Oh, okay, we'll send somebody else over that might be more in your price range. Fucking no! How stupid, how idiotic, how moronic. You can't send out somebody to heal because it's going to cut into your profit margins? I would love to be able to say, fuck you and your methods, except that I live in that. And that is unconscionable once people have understood that's exactly what it is. On the north side of the border, everybody pitches in, everybody gets a little bit. Those that need a little bit more get a little bit more. Generally speaking, with a few exceptions. And we hate those exceptions. But they happen. Not always for the right reasons. But sometimes they can be used as the experience for people to say, this ain't right, we need to change and fix this, and then they fucking do. As opposed to over here, where, well, I guess that's what Chapter 11 is for, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you. Abso-fucking-lutely fuck you. Yes, I will go ahead and I will say it. Why? Because fuck you, that's why. Greedy ass motherfuckers.
Yep.
George, wish you were here to go ahead and say a little something on this one, George, but you know, as always, thank you very much for being with us tonight. We hope that you found something worthwhile in everything that we've had to say and enjoyed all of our perspectives tonight. Joey, like I said, had to disappear because he was all kinds of tired out. So on his behalf, thank you very much for being with us, everybody. Joseph, yeah, one hell of a night, eh?
How?
Okay, fine. One hell of a morning, huh?
Yeah, I'm awake. Amazing.
Appreciate it. You have a good morning. Good luck on all of those projects, by the way. I did see some of the stuff that you'd been working on.
Oh,
but,
the same mind-numbing thing. Yeah.
I
Thank you.
But seriously, good luck on it all.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
And you too, sir.
Tech, you take very good care of yourself, and I will send you down some. I'll send you down some new coffee.
Well, I'll stick with the black blood of the earth. I just got to put in an order for it.
Fair enough. I did actually go looking for ass kicking coffee. I couldn't find it on the shelf, unfortunately. So
ass kicking? Never heard of it.
Ass kick, whichever one. Figure it out in a minute. Brigid. No. I'll show you afterwards. Brigid, thank you very much for your time. Nice to see you, and it's good to hear that you're in much better health at this point.
Yeah, finally.
Congratulations on all that. So thank you for your time, and plug away.
If you want to see me at my blog, you can find it at brigidfitch2112.wordpress.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Brigid Fitch.
Or go searching on various other webcasts where you might actually find her interviewed once or twice in the last month or so. Hint, hint.
I was on Scenic. Gosh, I can never remember it. Scenic City Skeptics, and I was on Atheist in a Trailer Park.
Because we're incestuous that way.
Did you do some reading with Tucker?
I did.
Oh, that's so fun. That's some crazy ass shit in the Apocrypha, let me tell you.
Yeah. Learned a couple of new words. I forgot them promptly, but learned a couple of new words too.
That's right. Heretic Woman.
Yes.
Stop typing away at all those other people and go ahead and plug all your stuff. God
I'm not typing at anyone right now.
Okay.
But, so, as I think I mentioned last week, we shifted the time of Beyond the Trailer Park to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and that's on YouTube, Beyond the Trailer Park, or beyondthetrailerpark.com. You can find a link there. And this week we are talking to Tom Westbrook, who is Holy Kool-Aid. That's his channel on YouTube. It's a great little channel. He does some really good animation stuff, and we're looking forward to talking to him. I met him at ReasonCon and at Imagine No Religion, which was kind of cool. So he's going to come hang out with us for a bit. And I think the Great Debate Community is probably going to do something tomorrow afternoon. That's on Steve McRae's channel. If you ever get around to checking that out, I pop in there off and on too. He just did another moderated debate with Kent Hovind. So Yeah, Steve's organized one, I think, almost every Friday with different members of the Great Debate community. So that's quite interesting. So you can check that out too, because the Great Debate community is pretty cool, and there's lots of interesting people, and Holy Kool-Aid is one of them. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
You gonna needle him a little bit about that name?
Why?
I'm sorry. What show are you on again right now?
Oh, holy crap! Holy Kool-Aid, gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah.
What? Maybe I gotta.
And you were definitely there first, because well, actually, I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll have to double check. I think you were. Pretty sure you were.
We're coming up on 3 years. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. He's been out there for a little while. He has, but yeah.
Mine, damn it.
I have to wear the holy crap shirt for the show then.
You
Yeah.
you do that. Actually, we should see about that. Maybe
Yep.
that's something that I don't think anything will come of it, but you know what? Maybe we'll see if anybody is interested for it. I don't know. We'll see about that.
I would love
Yeah.
to have one.
Well, we shall have to see about that then. Anyway,
There you go.
so a couple of things that I need to let folks know about before we get out of here. Item one, for those of you that follow me for the personal stuff, actually, yes, I have been on Jake Farwharton's show a couple of times, and actually one recently, which was cool. I may have inadvertently gotten Ross Balch killed, but that's can't prove that yet. I guess we'll find out. There's a thing about Nutella and breakfast and go check out the iFriends podcast, and maybe you'll figure it out, because it was just recently. It'll make sense. Item number two. Like I said, it should be 24 years for my wife and me on Monday. Any and every one of you who are married still and happily, my hat's off to you. Congratulations. I just hope the very best for all of you. And I do not say that because I'm looking for, to make myself feel better about anything or whatever. I honestly do hope that people enjoy being together. I truly, honestly do. And some people kind of wonder about that. I really, really do care about people being happy. Item three, I've got a couple of people that I'm going to be seeing about lining up for future guest appearances. One of which is an incredible teacher, another of which is a actual scientist who does stuff for the furry community.
Science!
Actual motherfucking science on the furry community, yes.
Weird science, dude.
It may be weird, but it's actual, like, legit science. So I've been saying for a couple of years I need to get him on. I will get him on. I'm going to make sure that happens before the end of the summer. Item last. It was brought to my attention earlier tonight that we had a loss in the podcasting community. Christopher Maley apparently passed Thursday morning.
Oh my goodness.
I had just gotten word about it earlier today. I really, I really was going to try to hold it together. I guess I kind of didn't work the way I wanted it to. I had a couple of interactions with Chris. He was a nice guy overall. I had a couple of early appearances on him with his show, interviewed, and I would like to think that he was actually a good guy. I really do think that he was. I did not know him at all personally, but from what I got the chance to see, collectively our hearts our hearts and our thoughts are with him, his family, and his circle of friends in this time. Our hopes to you all for peace in the time ahead. It will not at all be easy, but we hope the best. And even though I know full well that he would not hear at this point because, well, whatever. I'd like to think that maybe, just maybe, he still kind of had a soft spot for us as well. Thanks for spending part of your time with us, man. Privileged to have known you. So we have to get on out of here. As always, everyone, I wish you all, as always, the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. As always, for my lady. Like I said, 12 years later, I am still in love with you. Happy anniversary. Matane Fujin, I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we get together, everyone, as always, good night.